Welcome back, folks, to the random video blog where every single Friday I, Graham GSM Matthews, run down my rambling thoughts in the wrestling world, share a few stories, etc., etc. And today, July 1st, marks the halfway point of what has been an amazing year for 2016. We predicted it ourselves right here in the random video blog 6 months ago to the day, January 1st, our first ever video on the YouTube channel in 2016, which recapped 7 things I wanted to see happen in 2016 in WWE. So, I remember doing that video, and it was only last week, and today I was going to talk about whatever. But I thought it'd only be appropriate to kind of revisit that video from 6 months ago. If you haven't watched it, it's almost 20 minutes long, but I'll give you the I'll give you it in a nutshell here. So I rewatched the video about a couple days ago, thinking like, okay, I don't even remember what half those things were that I wanted to see happen in 2016. So I rewatched the video, and I had this scary feeling that almost every single one I wanted to see happen came to fruition, oddly enough. It's pretty amazing. So if you haven't watched the video or you don't remember like I didn't, let's recap the 7 things before we move forward here with 7 things I wanted to see happen going forward in 2016. And by the way, these are 7 things I didn't predict would happen. These are 7 things I just wanted to happen. And coming off 2015, which to date has been my favorite year in wrestling, 2016 by year's end might surpass 2015 and being a great wrestling year. In regards to everything I've seen live, everything else that's happened from the revamping of the women's division, the return of the draft, all this other shit that I had no idea, that I didn't even bother predicting because I didn't think it would happen, you know what I mean? But anyway, or not predict, but rather I wanted to see happen. So here are the 7 things real quick I wanted to see happen this year, and like I said, most of these already have come to fruition already, so most of these have already happened. So number 1, which I completely forgot about when I rewatched the video only a couple days ago, I laughed. I'm like, wow, that actually happened. Dean Ambrose wins a world championship. Look at that. At Money in the Bank only 2-3 weeks ago, Dean Ambrose wins his first ever WWE World Heavyweight title. So that was pretty amazing. That came to fruition. Number 2, Cody Rhodes returns. And I was technically right on this one because he did leave WWE and he's no longer Stardust. He is returning to the independent scene as Cody Rhodes, which I didn't know he could do. I thought Cody Rhodes was the name owned by WWE because that's not his real name. His real name is like Dustin Runnels or something, or Virgil Runnels or whatever. So I guess he can return to the independent scene as Cody Rhodes. I hope to meet him this upcoming August at a Northeast Wrestling show. So technically that one came to fruition too. Number 3, Big Show retires, which I wasn't really necessarily on point with, but he has not wrestled a televised match, since WrestleMania. He has pretty much had his on-air role largely reduced since WrestleMania, so I don't know if I'm technically right with that one, but I feel like I kind of am, because he's not on TV anymore, which was kind of like the primary goal. I don't care if he retires, quits, becomes a backstage agent, as long as he's not on TV as much as he once was, I'm completely content. And so far in 2016, that has been the case since WrestleMania. Number 4 is the only one that I know I was not accurate with. Jeff Hardy returns to WWE. So there was a chance of that happening before he re-signed with TNA earlier on in 2016. I was very, not pissed, but I was like, fuck! He re-signed back in February or March, and his contract probably expires in, January of next year, whenever it might expire, I don't know. I did talk to Matt Hardy at an independent show last month, and he just outright said, yeah, we're in talks with WWE. We hope to be back there at some point on our part-time schedule. I'm like, okay, cool. So I guess that is probably happening at some point, probably just not in 2016. So I was wrong with that one. I know there's a lot of rumors right now that Jeff Hardy might be coming back, a part of the brand split, but he's under contract, dudes, to TNA for the foreseeable future. So that's not happening until at least 2017 at the earliest. Number 5, I said Finn Balor, Bayley, and Enzo and Cass would be called up to the main roster. I wanted to see them get called up to the main roster. Enzo and Cass, I was right on point with the night after WrestleMania. It was the night I specifically said all 3 of those entities, or 4 people, I guess, should be called up. Finn Balor and Bayley were not. Enzo and Cass were, so I was half right with that one. Bayley and Balor, I feel like it's only inevitable. So my upcoming 7 things I want to see happen in the remainder of 2017, or rather in 2016, those are already pretty much implied because I feel like those will happen at some point. Whether it could be very well next week or the draft or after SummerSlam, like I said with Bayley, who knows. But I feel like that's only inevitable at this point. Number 6, Kalisto wins a singles title, which happened literally a week or 2 into 2016. He won the United States Championship from Alberto Del Rio. And number 7, AJ Styles in WWE. If you watch that video back, I specifically say that is the one thing I do not at all expect to happen. That is the least likely to happen. Probably won't ever happen. And look at that, literally days after I posted that video, news broke that he was en route to WWE. You know what I mean? So It really goes to show how unpredictable, how amazing 2016 has been so far for WWE and just the entire wrestling world, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the rest of 2016 holds. So on that note, today's video blog will be running down 7 things. We've already spent 5 minutes recapping what I wanted to see happen, and most of those already have come to fruition, like I said, so I'll kind of speed through the next 7 things I still want to see happen in the remainder of 2016 in the 6 months to come. So number 1 being, I really want to see New Day break their WWE Tag Team title record and becoming the longest reigning WWE Tag Team champions of all time. Most of you have asked me this on hashtag AskJSM over the past year. Do you think the New Day will or should break the longest reigning record as WWE Tag Team Champions? I honestly didn't think it would happen because they would have held the titles from SummerSlam of last year, which I was at, by the way, to frickin', what was it? To July, to like next month until Battleground. And after retaining the titles at Money in the Bank, it looks like they are on track to breaking the record. If they can hold the championships until like the week before Battleground, they will have officially broken the record as WWE Tag Team Champions. And they definitely deserve it. I mean, London and Kendrick were great, but New Day, in my opinion, have been the greatest WWE Tag Team Champions of all time. Having awesome matches, being so fucking over with the audience, and just being so entertaining, regularly defending those tag team titles. So I feel like they are definitely deserving of becoming the longest reigning tag team champions of all time. It may not happen, but that is one thing, the first and foremost thing I want to see happen this year is them breaking the record next month. Or this month, rather, in the month of July. So, number 2 on my list here, Shinsuke Nakamura. I really want to see him win the NXT Championship, which I feel like will happen come NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Him and Balor is happening on an upcoming episode of NXT, which leads me to believe they're setting up Nakamura and Samoa Joe for the belt in Brooklyn. I'd be fine if Joe beat Nakamura just because Joe's only been champion since April, but I feel like Nakamura's been undefeated since he arrived in NXT. They're probably building up to win the championship in Brooklyn, which I will be at, by the way. And also, I forgot to mention this too, in the beginning of that previous video that I mentioned, the aforementioned 7 things I want to see happen in 2016, my bold prediction for me personally this year was to go to TakeOver, SummerSlam, and Raw. And God forbid anything happens, I will be at all 3 shows. I've already bought my tickets for all 3 events, TakeOver, Raw, and SummerSlam. So that's another prediction I was right on point with. So anyway, so Nakamura, I really, really want to see him win the NXT Championship in 2016. The guy's a fucking star, and it's only a matter of time before he has gold around his waist. Number 3, like I said before, I don't want to say I want to see Balor and Bayley on the main roster. I absolutely do, obviously, but I don't want that to be my 3rd thing I want to see happen this year because I feel like it's only a matter of time. I feel like Bayley and Balor will be on the main roster before year's end, sooner rather than later for both people. But so I'll go off on a limb here, and I want to say I want to see Samoa Joe and Austin Aries on the main roster, or Austin Aries. I don't feel like both of them will be main roster bound by the end of the year. You know what? I'll throw Bobby Roode in there too. I feel like I want to see Bobby Roode, Austin Aries, or Samoa Joe on the WWE main roster by the end of the year. Austin Aries would be a great addition. I feel like NXT needs them more right now than the main roster does, but with the brand split coming up, the WWE draft only a few weeks away, they could be drafted to Raw or SmackDown, who knows. Bobby Roode, I'm starting to get the feeling that the fact that he has yet to debut at NXT, or at the NXT tapings at Full Sail, I'm starting to get the feeling that they're saving him for the draft. You know, otherwise, why wouldn't he have arrived by now? I have no idea, but I guess we'll have to find out in due time. But I would love to see Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, or Bobby Roode on the WWE main roster by the end of the year. Samoa Joe, as much as deserving as he is to be on that main roster right now, he's doing phenomenal work as NXT champion. And hell, he could be called up as NXT champion. It's happened before with Kevin Owens, Big E, Seth Rollins. It wouldn't be completely out of the ordinary, so it is possible, but I think all 3 of them deserve to be on the main roster at some point, but I would love to see one of them, at least one of them, on the main roster before the end of 2016. Number 4 on my list, another championship win. I really want to see before the end of 2016 Sasha Banks become the new WWE Women's Champion. Another predictable one, I know. I feel like it's only inevitable before she has gold around her waist. She did fall short at WrestleMania of winning the championship, but it looks like we are getting Banks and Charlotte at Battleground. And if not at Battleground, if she doesn't win it there, which I hope they win it, they hope they save the moment until SummerSlam. Again, not just because I'll be there, but because the story makes sense. The same building where she lost the Women's Championship to Bayley 1 year earlier at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, she wins the WWE Women's Championship for the first time in her career before calling up Bayley, hopefully that Monday night on Raw. So that's the 4th thing I want to see happen this year. Sasha Banks is WWE Women's Champion. Number 5, I really want to see John Cena get drafted to SmackDown. I feel like it has to happen. I don't know what other draft predictions I have. People are asking me, who do you want to see on Raw, SmackDown? I'm not exactly sure. I'm really flexible either way. I want to see SmackDown have a stronger roster for once, a la 2002, 2003. But one thing is for sure, and people, regardless of whether you're a John Cena fan or not, the guy has got to be on SmackDown. If you really want to send the message that this is a new era in WWE, you got to send Cena back to SmackDown. I cannot tell you how much I marked out when John Cena got drafted to SmackDown back in 2011. Being the stupid mark that I was, and kind of still am, I thought it would be permanent. I did not think they would do what they did and have him drafted back to the show by the end of the night, drafted back to Raw by the end of the evening. And unfortunately, he was. But I was really happy to see him on SmackDown, albeit for 2 hours, and I really want to see that happen again, just because I feel like he can add a lot of legitimacy to the Blue brand post draft. Say that 5 times fast. But I really want to see him add a lot of legitimacy to the WWE SmackDown brand, just because, like I said, if you really want people to take SmackDown seriously from the get-go, you got to have a big name. Brock Lesnar would be nice. Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt would all be great. Even the WWE Champion Dean Ambrose. But I feel like the best thing that you could do to make SmackDown feel meaningful is to have John Cena on this show. And then put Roman Reigns on Raw. If you really want to make Roman Reigns the guy, whether it be as a babyface or a heel, put Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns on Raw. That's what I would do. Or put Ambrose on SmackDown. Or Rollins on SmackDown. I would put Cena and Styles on SmackDown, and then the 3 Shield guys on Raw. My personal opinion, but that's the way that I would do it. But regardless, I really want to see John Cena on SmackDown come the WWE draft in a few more weeks. Number 6 on my list here, I really want to see in the remainder of 2016, Seth Rollins officially go babyface. I know a case can be made, an argument can be made that he's kind of already babyface as it is right now, but technically he is still a heel, officially anyway in WWE's eyes. But it's only inevitable. The guy, people just really want to cheer this guy. They really want to get behind Seth Rollins and cheer him as the babyface he is bound to be. So it's got to happen, whether it's at SummerSlam. It should have happened by now. Why they didn't bring him back as a babyface really blows my mind. I thought I was fine when he came back as a heel, just because, okay, they might wait until Money in the Bank to do the official double turn, which they did not do. Silly me for actually believing, giving WWE faith and giving them hope that they would actually do it, but they did not. Anyway, so I feel like it's only a matter of time before Seth Rollins goes babyface. And if they have to turn somebody heel in order for that to happen, whether it be a Roman Reigns or even a Dean Ambrose, I'm completely fine with that. Seth Rollins has to be a babyface before the end of 2016. So that's something I really want to see before the end of the year, but specifically in the months to come. More importantly, just because I feel like there's a lot of momentum there with him coming off his injury and people just really want to cheer him. It's got to happen in the coming months as opposed to later on in 2016. If it happens at all, I'll be happy. And number 7, last but certainly not least, on the 7 things I want to see happen in WWE in the remainder of 2016, Kurt Angle returning to WWE. Now, I know I've said this time and time again. I talked about it on Wrestle Rant Radio this past week. A whole 5 to 8 minute clip is right here on the channel from Wednesday if you want to check it out. But another person, a lot like Jeff Hardy, where I feel like Kurt Angle's return is only inevitable. I know there's been talks between the two sides. Reportedly, I know Angle has supported those claims. WWE has denied those claims. So I'm not exactly sure what to believe. But what I do believe is that Angle will be back at some point. I don't think it's going to happen next week or even at the draft. I feel like it will happen. I think he did say recently, the most recent update on the situation is that he wants to be back in the company by 2017. But I feel like the earlier the better, just because people would love to see Angle back in WWE, not for the brand split, not as, an active full-time wrestler. The guy would die on a full-time schedule. As a GM, sure. As a Brock Lesnar, Rock-like deal where he's back for a few matches a year, I'd be absolutely in favor of that. Maybe even just Raws and SmackDowns, or just Raws and pay-per-views, not necessarily house shows and fucking live events and SmackDowns, Raws, everything. The guy would die on that type of schedule. But one thing is for sure, Kurt Angle has to be back in WWE at some point. I would love to see, as you said, the whole point of this video happen sooner rather than later in the remainder of 2016. Like I said, sooner the better, just because I feel like there's a lot of momentum there. There's a lot of buzz surrounding Kurt Angle right now. I know the Raw after Battleground, from what I read anyway, I'm not exactly sure 100%, but I heard someone say that the Raw after Battleground, immediately following Battleground, is in Pittsburgh, the hometown of Kurt Angle, the Olympic gold medalist. So there's no better time to bring him back in time for a whole SummerSlam feud, which again I will be at. So to hear that da 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 in person would just be absolutely surreal. I did hear that music in person a few years ago at a Northeast Wrestling event. I think the video, it's not here and up on the channel. It is on the Facebook page from like late 2014, if you want to check it out. But he was at a Northeast Wrestling show. He confronted one of their superstars, Brian Anthony. He did not come out to his TNA music. Despite re-signing with TNA, he came out to his WWE music, which was pretty interesting. So mark the fuck out for that, and hopefully it's not long before we hear that music in WWE again. So those are 7 things I want to see happen before the end of 2016. Like I said earlier, the first 7 things I want to see happen this year, pretty much all of them have happened with the exception of Jeff Hardy coming to WWE, which will hopefully happen by 2017. But quick recap, if you're fast forwarding to the end of the video, here's my quick recap, which I hope you didn't do. But anyway, in a nutshell, 7 things they want to see happen. Quick rundown here. The New Day break the WWE Tag Team Champion record, a Tag Team Championship record for the longest reigning WWE Tag Team Champions of all time. 2, Shinsuke Nakamura winning the NXT Championship. 3, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, and Bobby Roode ending up on the WWE main roster. Number 4, Sasha Banks becoming the new WWE Women's Champion. 5, John Cena on SmackDown. 6, Seth Rollins turning babyface. And 7, Kurt Angle returning to WWE. So those are 7 things I want to see happen in the next 6 months. Like I said earlier, the first 7 things and the video I put up on the New Year's Day edition of the Random Video Blog, all of them have almost happened, and it's only 6 months into 2016, and much more. Like I said, the brand split, the women's division, this new era, everything else that's happened, AJ Styles. So it's really been a surreal year, a surreal 2016, and I'm looking forward to what the rest of 2016 holds for us wrestling fans and everyone else. It's been a really good year personally, wrestling, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds. So that being said, guys, what is your list? What are some things that you want to see happen in the remainder of this amazing year that has been 2016? Be sure to tweet me on the Twitter at WrestleRant, on Facebook at Facebook.com, Facebook.com/Graham.Houston.Matthews, and right down below in the comments section, I'll be sure to check out your list and see if it measures up to mine. So that being said, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All support is amazingly appreciated. Again, guys, thank you for a absolutely amazing first half of 2016 right here on YouTube. Everything else, article-wise, social media-wise, everything, you guys are the ones that keep me going. So I really appreciate that, and I appreciate all the support. So here's to another even stronger second half of 2016. I'm Graham Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.